It's possible to more than 10x your Capital One credit limit, even if you started at 300 bucks. But Capital One can be the most stubborn and frustrating bank to deal with, especially if you signed up early in your credit card journey. Some people get stuck with credit limits under $1,000 for years at a time. Yikes. So I'll show you the shocking amount of usage most people have to pump through their card to finally get an increase. Why applying for increases every 6 months really won't cut it, and exactly what to write on your next Capital One credit limit increase application to get the biggest increase. Capital One doesn't just give out credit without thinking about what's in it for them. Balance transfers, while helpful to you, come with an introductory fee that goes straight into their pockets. That's why card issuers appreciate people who use balance transfer offers. It's really a win-win. You benefit from lower interest rates and they gain revenue from the transaction. Plus, when you move a balance to a card and begin making payments on it, it shows you're using that card, giving your credit card company more confidence in your engagement with their products. And let's add another layer here. Balance transfers often lead to increased card utilization on the receiving card, signaling to the issuer that you need and actively use your credit. This demonstrates that you can handle more, which boosts your image as a cardholder who is worth the risk of a higher credit limit. Also, doing a balance transfer can strengthen your relationship with Capital One. It's like giving them more reason to trust you. The more products or features you engage with, the more they see you as a loyal customer. And loyalty often paves the way for benefits like credit limit increases. Now, here's what you can do. Choose a card with an introductory balance transfer offer. For example, the Quicksilver card for people with excellent credit gives a 0% APR for the first 15 months with a 3% intro fee. That's going to help you pay down debt without racking up interest. And don't stop at just balance transfers. Show responsible usage for a few months, then follow up with Capital One to request a credit limit increase. You can also use transfers strategically, but don't overdo it. A well-timed balance transfer tells Capital One that you can manage larger balances effectively without seeming dependent on continuous balance shifting. And here's a data point to back that up. One person said, got approved for a Saver 1 in April, used it for a balance transfer, waited 1 month, then requested an increase. Balance is now 2/3 paid off, requested again today since it's been 6 months since approval, went from $3,300 to $8,300. Another thing you could try is applying for brand new cards. Now, instead of hitting your head against a brick wall every month with your old Capital One card, you could just apply for a brand new higher level card like the VentureX card. Premium credit cards often come with higher minimum credit limits. Now, imagine adding a card like the VentureX to your lineup, which starts at a $10,000 minimum limit. That's a huge boost to your total credit right out of the gate. Another important angle, every time you apply for a new card, you go through a fresh credit assessment. It's like starting with a blank slate. Capital One will look at your current financial standing, so if you made strides like improving your credit score, increasing your income, or paying down existing debt, you could be in for a higher limit than on your older cards. So here's what you can do. Choose the right card. Find the higher end cards known for high starting limits and benefits. Then apply when your credit profile is the strongest. Make sure your credit score, income, and overall financial health are in top shape before applying. This will increase your chances of approval and help you secure that higher credit limit. And you also want to space out applications. Don't go on a credit card application spree. Multiple applications in a short time frame can make lenders wary and could negatively impact your credit score. And here's another data point. Someone said, my first Capital One card never got past $3,500, but after 2 years of good history with them, they've been more generous on subsequent accounts. I've been giving Capital One most of my spend and always paid in full. Now I have a VentureX at a $15,000 limit and a Saver at a $20,000 limit. And if you want to apply for new credit cards but hate the idea of getting hit with a hard credit pull and getting denied, then you have to use my free credit card pre-approval master list. It's got over 60 cards on it, including Capital One, and I update it regularly so you can get pre-approved with just a soft credit pull. And sometimes you can even see your starting limit with a soft pull as well. So hit the link below to get pre-approved for a bunch of credit cards today. Now moving on, the next thing you can try is boosting your credit usage. Increasing your credit usage rate is the #1 hack to get Capital One to finally raise your limit. When credit card companies like Capital One see that you use a large percentage of your available credit and then repay it without breaking a sweat, it signals that you're not just any card holder, you're an asset. And here's why this matters. Card issuers aren't just offering credit out of the goodness of their hearts. They're businesses, and they earn money each time you swipe the card. By showing consistent high usage of your card, you become the kind of customer that makes them smile. Someone who contributes to their revenue through transaction fees. They're more likely to reward you by upping your credit limit because they see you as both dependable and profitable. Plus, your ability to manage a higher credit balance and pay it off showcases that you're not a risk, you're reliable. It's like you're telling them, I can handle more, you can trust me with a bigger limit. This is exactly why I found recent data points that show 18 out of 20 users who strategically use between 60 and 90% of their credit limit ended up getting a credit limit increase from Capital One. Now, here's what you can do. Consistently use the card. Think of all those recurring expenses like monthly utilities, your favorite streaming subscriptions, grocery runs, and even spontaneous dinner dates. The more you use it, the more you prove you need it. And shoot for a 60 to 90% utilization rate on your Capital One card. And this is crucial. Allow your high balances to report. Letting a high balance report isn't just a small step, it's a statement. It tells the credit bureaus and ultimately Capital One, look at how much credit I'm responsibly handling. This builds the history of a high spender who isn't afraid to use credit but knows how to manage it wisely. Then you want to pay in full each month. You've shown the issuer you can spend, and now you're showing you can repay too. This habit keeps your financial house in order and ensures you're not hit with any unnecessary interest fees, which could hurt your credit history. Also, pay down high balances before you request an increase. And check out this data point. Someone said, I got a Capital One Platinum with a $300 limit in March of 2020, which was my first non-store card. I product changed to a Quicksilver after about a year. They usually give me a couple of $100 each credit limit increase, but they gave me a $1,000 increase in January, bringing my limit to $4,600. This time I requested a limit of $6,000 and they gave me $8,600. That's a $4,000 increase. I think I have officially broken out of the bucket. I never expected to hit 4,600, let alone 8,600. I did have a large purchase on it in May, so I posted $2,500. The most I usually spend on it in a month is $400 to $500. I mostly just use it for recurring charges like car insurance, ours only charges monthly, and I don't use it for many one-off charges. Now, this person is a great example of how high usage and manual requesting a credit limit increase can trigger a massive increase. They used over 54% of their credit limit in the month leading up to the increase too. Plus, over the course of 4 years, they went from a limit of $300 to $8,600. That's almost 30 times their starting credit limit. And I want to let you know something. You don't have to wait 6 months for a credit limit increase. While many people follow the general advice to wait, just hitting submit can yield faster results. Requesting a credit limit increase early, sometimes even before activating the card, can be enough to trigger an increase. One reason this strategy works is that most credit limit increase requests only involved a soft credit pull, which doesn't affect your personal credit score. This means there's no risk in trying, as a denial won't have any direct negative impact on your score. Additionally, card issuers like Capital One often use internal scoring systems based on your spending and payment habits, so applying at a strategic moment, after a statement cut or following heavy usage, can really align with their evaluation timelines and result in an increase. So here's what you can do. Apply early, don't wait. Try asking for an increase even before activating the card. Then use the card heavily. During the first few weeks of having the card, use it frequently for daily expenses or larger purchases. And you also want to request at strategic times. Apply for an increase after about 2 weeks of significant usage and again after each statement period closes. And you want to leverage those soft credit pulls. Take advantage of the fact that all credit limit increase requests with Capital One use soft pulls, which don't impact your credit score. And you want to keep your balance low. Ensure that when you make a request, your balance isn't too high. Paying down the balance before you make the request will greatly improve your odds of approval. And here's an example of that. Someone said, however, my Saver one, which I only got a few weeks ago, they approved me for an increase from $10,000 to $15,000 already. They're pretty weird over there at Capital One. So here's where I want to get into the application process step by step. And applying for a credit line increase can be nerve-wracking, but it doesn't have to be. Knowing the ins and outs of how to fill out your application can make all the difference in securing that higher limit. I've pieced together a step-by-step guide packed with real-world advice that can help you maximize your chances of approval with Capital One. So when you get to the income section, don't just type in your paycheck amount and call it a day. Here's the thing. By law, if you're over 21, you can include your household income. So if you have a partner who contributes to rent, or if you split expenses with a roommate, that counts too. And think of it this way. Banks love to see that you have a cushion. The higher your income, the better you look on paper. It's like walking into a bank and saying, look, I've got this covered. It improves your debt to income ratio and shows lenders that you're capable of handling larger amounts of debt. Trust me, It's a game changer. Now let's talk about employment status. This one is crucial. Always choose employed. Even if you're running your own show as a freelancer or a business owner, you're employed by you. Choosing this option signals that you have a steady source of income, which banks love. It tells them you're not just floating around through life on a hope and a prayer. You have reliable money coming in to cover your bills. I remember the first time I realized this, it was like a light bulb went off. I've been choosing self-employed and wondering why my applications were coming back lukewarm. Switching to employed changed the narrative. Now we get to mortgage or rent payment. Don't let this trip you up. When they ask you for your mortgage or rent, just don't overthink it. If you're living with roommates or sharing expenses, just type in your portion of the rent. Let's say you split the $2,000 rent with a roommate and pay $1,000. That's the number that you'll enter. It's tempting to put down the whole rent payment, thinking it makes you look more responsible, but in reality, it really skews your debt to income ratio and could hurt your chances. Now we get to estimated monthly spending. Here's where the little strategy goes a long way. Banks want to know how much you're likely to spend each month. Now here's the trick. Type in at least 50% of your desired credit line. So if you're aiming for a $20,000 limit, say you'll be spending around $10,000 monthly. Now, why is that? It signals to the bank that you're not just asking for a higher limit just for show. You're ready to use it. The first time I tried this, I felt a little aggressive, like who spends that much every month? But framing it up this way shows banks you mean business. Now we come to maximum desired credit line. Now, when Capital One asks you for your maximum desired credit line, don't be shy. Always aim as high as that particular card will allow. If you have a standard credit card like the Quicksilver card, then type in 25,000. If you have a more premium card like the Venture X card, type in 30,000. And this is because banks usually counter with what they're comfortable with offering you. You want to start the conversation at the highest point to leave room for Capital One to negotiate down. This is where we get to the reason for requesting a credit line increase. Now, this part might seem like just another checkbox, but it's more important than you think. Always choose I expect higher expenses over the next few months. And you want to do this because it signals to Capital One that your need for a higher limit is immediate and justified. You're not planning on using that line for a once-a-year splurge or some vague future plan. This shows them that you're gearing up for consistent higher spending, and that's music to their ears. And over the past 2+ years, this approach has helped me increase my credit line over 10 times. You know, banks want to feel confident that their investment in you will pay off soon, not years down the line. And you should know, on my journey of increasing my credit limit with Capital One, I was able to get back-to-back increases within a 60-day period with almost no spending on the card. So definitely check out the next video to find out how I did that, and thank you for watching.